So we're halfway through the preseason games for the Los Angeles Lakers. 3 up, 3 down. There's been some definite bright spots, and there's been some lulls. Is Darvin Ham's new effort policy going to really hinder them on the offensive end? In this video, we're going to break down the 3 games that we've seen. I know it's just preseason, but you can get a lot of information from this. We're also going to break down who are the Lakers starting to favor, and most importantly, who are they starting to sit more. There's some players that came in that everybody was high on, but they're not getting a lot of minutes because they're not really producing. So in this video, with a Hooper's perspective, we're going to break down what is in store for this Lakers team this season, and can they make a title push? I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a Hooper's perspective. And if you love that kind of talk, then make sure you dunk that like button and you hit the subscribe button so that you never miss a thing. So the first thing that I want to talk about is just briefly some big observations that I've seen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to break down the statistics, the shooting of the Lakers' first 3 preseason games. I understand it's preseason. We're not getting absolutely everything. But if you watch the same games that I've been watching, they're playing as if those are real games. In fact, they had some playoff style energy in a few of these games. So what I was able to collect, just watching this team, the chemistry, and also what some of the numbers over here are saying. You're going to want to make sure you stay tuned to the end because there's some players out there that are going to be making this team, and not only the team, but maybe that 7 to 8 man rotation who nobody was talking about. So stay tuned to the end for that. So the first observation that I saw was that they obviously are going to start these games, which hopefully with Anthony Davis healthy, but they're resting him. But I saw him dabbing players up and wearing his green jacket and healthy. I think they're just literally like, let's get to the regular season. But they're starting him at the 4. That causes a problem at the 5 spot. Everybody's really high on Thomas Bryant. His numbers show that he's actually doing pretty well in the points category with about 8 to 9 minutes, with about 8 points per game in just 17 minutes. So I do believe they're not going to be running a true 5 center for long minutes, and they're going to be subbing that player out. So I would expect it's kind of like that Dwight and JaVale McGee type role where they do come in. JaVale McGee usually always got that start. He wasn't truly finishing, but there was a player that I was noticing. He doesn't average the most points, who had the energy, who I believe is the best fit for the 5 spot for the Lakers. That's your boy Damian Jones. He has all of the things that I'm looking for in a big man in a LeBron James system. Yes, not a Lakers system, but a LeBron James system. He needs that energy dude who is not afraid to shot block. Now, if you watched a lot of those LeBron teams back in the past with the Miami Heat, with the Cleveland Cavs, he always had a guy like Tristan Thompson, or he had a guy like Birdman or Valanciunas, any of these dudes who would just sit under and just try and block shots. Now, the one thing that this does is it causes increase in chemistry, right? LeBron loves to have that high energy big man who can get extra offensive rebounds and putbacks. They may not be the best scorers, but it really helps with chemistry, and it helps on the defensive end, because what does defense lead to? It leads to a lot of fast breaks. Now we're going to talk again, some of the struggles that I've really seen, but at the same time, the defense has been outstanding, and I love the effort. Now, here's one thing that I see right out of the gate is they are bringing in these younger guys. The Lakers look young. I never thought in a million years I would say that. LeBron was spry and running. Russell Westbrook was taking that ball out of the fast break and finishing and actually making his shot. You had young guys like Cole Swider running crazy. He was getting offensive rebounds on free throws. Like, that's the number one thing you teach people, box out, and he was getting around offensive rebounds and putbacks. You had guys like Max Christy averaging the most minutes out of any Laker player in the preseason so far. Scottie Pippen Jr. got some time. So what does that mean for players like Juan Toscano-Anderson, who a lot of people are happy and high on? Well, let's just go to some of these statistics really quick, and I'm going to break it down. So here we have it, and obviously, again, it's stats of just 3 games. And the one thing that I wanted to just look at is, like, who's getting the minutes right now? Because that tells me in preseason that not only are they going to take their best players and not give them a lot of minutes, what it's doing is the coach is trying to feel these players out. He's super high on them, and he wants to make sure he gets it right. Now, you might be thinking, well, they're just kind of taking the best players and they're only playing them a couple minutes, and the bottom guys, and they're getting the most minutes. But sometimes, and I've been in these locker room situations where you go into preseason, the coach is super high on guys. They perform very well at practice or training camp, and he wants to get them minutes with real NBA players opposing teams. So right out of the gate, if you look here, the number 1 guy was Max Christy. The number 2 guy, I've been super high on, my other NBA white guy, you got Austin Reeves. The one thing I noticed about Reeves, he was a absolute dime machine. He was getting assists. I think he had 8 or 9 in one game alone. So he is leading the entire team in assists this season, which is great, right? We obviously need shooting, but a lot of these players were proving that they could shoot. And when you have the likes of a Kendrick Nunn out there who was, the leading point scorer for, if you go per average, obviously there's going to be players who average more. But Kendrick Nunn was getting buckets each game. He's going to be a great scorer. He shot 50% from the three-point line in preseason. So this is a guy who's going to get a lot of buckets. LeBron obviously was pulling up from the logo. He's not scared to do that. But, with that, you got to also have guys who just facilitate and get easy buckets. And he has a connection, and I'm talking about Austin Reeves, with LeBron James. If you watch that play where he came into the key, no look pass right to a cutting LeBron James for an easy finish, I love that. This is something I've watched develop for now. It's going on 2 years. LeBron James loves to have himself an NBA white guy, whether it's Dellavedova or whether it's Caruso or whether it's Austin Reeves, these high energy, great defensive players who can pass the ball and also run the offense. That's a winning player for the Lakers organization. Now I'm going to get back and show you some crazier stuff, but before I do that, the only way that my videos get out there from YouTube is when you guys actually hit the like button. That engagement helps these videos get out. It makes me want to shoot more videos, and you're also going to comment down below, what player do you think nobody was talking about is going to get the most minutes for the Lakers this season? I'll tell you mine at the end. The next player that I want to talk about, which, we need more 3-and-D wings, right? We need more big guys. Cole Swider's that dude. The one thing that I noticed about him, he was getting so many steals. Everybody was talking about how suspect he is, or his defense is for that matter. But you got to realize a lot of that was being gauged on his college career, which was at Syracuse under a Jim Boeheim offense, which is a zone. He's the only guy who runs a zone in college, and he probably needs to drop that. He hadn't won a chip since Carmelo Anthony was there. But you can't really get a good gauge on that. He's a super high energy dude. Again, he was getting offensive rebounds. He was actually, averaging over 3 rebounds a game, but he was getting the highest amount of offensive rebounds on the team. So I saw him crashing the boards a lot. Again, I look at, I talk about this stuff from a hooper's perspective. I don't just strictly go off stats. I look at these players differently, and what I notice with him, he never stops moving. And the one thing I love about him, that boy is confident. And when you put on the purple and gold, you better have some confidence, because that's what kills players. They're incredible players, but when they put the purple and gold on and sit next to LeBron James, they shrink, right? And you can't have that. Cole Swider looks like that dude literally would go face to face with your boy Kobe Bean Bryant. Like, he doesn't show any fear. He is 100% hustle, and when he's on the wing, he's like this. He's ready. He's got his hands up, and he is just jonesing to jack that ball up. He missed like 2 or 3 threes in a row, and he did not care. That's what shooters do. Steph Curry can go 13 misses in a row, and guess what? Kerr's going to say, keep shooting. And guess what Steph's going to do? Keep shooting. Swider knows that he is wet. That's what real bona fide shooters do. And he's 6'9". He's leading the team in steals. He was leading the team in just all-out effort, and that's why that boy's getting minutes. And I think he's going to be a massive player for the Lakers this season. Mark my words. Now, there's another guy that a lot of people are really high on. I'm going to get back to him here in a second. And they were talking about this dude getting a lot of minutes. And again, it's, when the Lakers need size, he kind of fills that role. But I've been seeing the thing a little bit different. So I'm curious to see how the next 3 playoff games go. But let's check this out. As we go in here, we'll see the very top dude. And I have this out by minutes because I wanted to see who's getting minutes. Like I talked about in my intro, Max Christy, he's played all 3 games, and he is averaging the most amount of minutes. Now, this is a guy who isn't just like bottom of the bench player. Now, to me, this isn't a guy, when I look at this, who's just a bottom of the bench guy and they just need bodies out on the court. Yes, some of these players are. I honestly think Huff's like one of those guys. But Max Christy, I think they're trying to figure out, is this dude viable to be a Lakers, rotation player? Because he is 6'6". But in 25 minutes, he's only averaging 5 points a game. Again, I don't care if you don't average points. Everybody doesn't need to be a scorer. You need role players. And I'm just trying to find what is that role with him, because he did shoot a couple 3-pointers, didn't really make them. He gets, averages 4 rebounds a game, which is pretty decent. His assists were 1.7, so he's not an assist leader. He didn't get any steals, you know, and had a block. So really, there wasn't anything that stood out to me. Now, I did like his energy, I like his hustle, but again, if it's not really equating to anything, I personally think this is a guy who will start working towards the end of the bench and not get a lot of minutes. So as a lot of people are high, and you guys need to comment down below if you think differently of Max Christie, what is it that you see in him? I just didn't get that wow factor from him, and I'm not quite sure he'll get it. But I thought this one was interesting too, because you got another guy who's pretty tall right here in Juan Toscano Anderson. So he actually really looked good. His stats aren't going to show as much, just like, you know, Max Christie there, but they're only playing him, you know, 17 minutes a game, 18 minutes a game. Now, when I looked at him, he did shoot, you know, decent. It wasn't like he was like this knockdown shooter. He kind of has a funky release. But, you know, it is somebody who is viable out there. He did shoot, you know, I think 4 3-pointers or something. So when I do look at some of the stuff he did, only 3 rebounds per game, but he had 0.7 steals per game. So he was pretty active out there. I did like, you know, what I saw with Lonnie Walker a little bit better. And I did see, or like what I saw with Austin Reeves and Cole Swider a lot more than Juan Toscano. But I think this guy right now is just kind of a middle of the pack guy. I get it. He was on the floor or part of the Warriors organization, but he never made the rotation in the playoffs. I'm kind of seeing that trend again this year with the Lakers, and I know some of you guys are way higher on him, and I hope that he proves me wrong, but I'm just seeing this stuff as I see it from a hooper's perspective. So the next thing that I want to talk about is really the big men. The stats right now, this is why I hate really diving into stats. I'm looking more for hustle players. You can really have a feel with these guys because you're basically going to be down to Wenyen Gabriel, Thomas Bryant, and Damian Jones. Now, if you look at the numbers, Thomas Bryant's the best scorer out there, and I think we all knew that coming from the Wizards. He's actually a guy too who can shoot the 3-ball a little bit, although he hasn't made one yet. But he does average, you know, almost a steal a game, almost a block a game, and over 4 rebounds. So he was very efficient in only 17 minutes. But the wow factor, and I think, you know, especially what Darvin Ham is really looking for is that energy guy. Wenyen had incredible energy, but Damian Jones to me was that, like, he was really the go-to guy for rim protection. So I think that's going to really help out. I think you got 3 viable big men who can give you minutes, and you're going to have random nights where these guys will pour in buckets. But I think Wenyen Gabriel, especially Thomas Bryant, are going to be better shooters. Damian Jones is more of just underneath, a big dunker, even though he will go out and shoot the 3. This is a guy, again, just get him in the paint, blocking shots. Get him in the paint with big tip-in dunks, with alley-oop dunks. That, again, it's all chemistry. And at the beginning, I mentioned this team looks young. And I know you've got a LeBron James-led team, but he's really obviously the oldest guy. Well, that's hard to beat him. But other than that, you know, with just the middle to low 30s and then a lot of younger guys, I'm seeing a young, healthy, fast, disruptive team. But if they continue to buy into this Darvin Ham defense, watch out. This Lakers team looks scary. You guys need to comment down below. What player do you see out there that is not getting talked about will make the Lakers rotation? I think my guys right now are Cole Swider and Austin Reeves. And obviously Reeves is a guy who's been discussed as a starter, but I think he's going to get big minutes this year. And obviously, I still am just like, I'm in shock about this whole point guard situation because you still haven't even seen Dennis Schroeder yet. Kendrick Nunn's been a walking bucket. Russell Westbrook's looked fantastic in the preseason. And Patrick Beverley is an absolute pest still. And you can see his presence in these games, getting into the offensive team's butts with defense, man. So I'm excited about it. It's almost too many players to play, but who do you guys like? And to make sure you guys dunk that like button and you subscribe so that you never miss a thing. And until my next video, homies, we'll catch you later.